A powerful savings vehicle is the superhero of this episode of Retiring Today.
That superhero is the health savings account. It can really supercharge your retirement.
The income, tax, and healthcare powers of the HSA right now on Retiring Today.
Welcome to Retiring Today. This episode we're focusing on the HSA, or the health savings account. We're making it the superhero of this episode. It's part of our superhero series. We already talked about the Roth IRA as a superhero of your retirement plan, and today it's the HSA. AnnaMarie Morrow, she's the Director of Healthcare here at Merkle Retirement Planning. Loren Merkle, he's a certified financial planner, and you guys sit down every day and talk to people about how they can fit HSAs in. Loren, just to kind of get us started on this conversation, what is an HSA and how can people use it?
The HSA stands for the Health Savings Account, and really the power behind the HSA is we call it the triple tax benefit, because when the money goes in, it's tax deductible, and when the money comes out, as long as you use it for qualified medical expenses, it's tax-free, which means tax deductible, grows tax-free, take it out and use it tax-free. So one of the best things we can do from a retirement planning standpoint is mitigate the impact of taxation. Taxes are one of the biggest wealth eroding factors when it comes to your retirement spending. So if we can decrease taxes at all and incorporate one or two of these superhero types of investments like the Roth IRA or HSA, what a powerful way to increase our spending ability and decrease the tax liability.
Yeah, so AnnaMarie, you sit down with people every day and you talk to them about Medicare and HSAs and all of the components of healthcare. Do you find that a lot of people do have an HSA available to them, and are they taking advantage of it?
You know, I've seen both sides of the coin. The most shocking thing that I've found is people aren't aware of what is covered with their HSA, what they can spend it on, what's qualified as a eligible medical spending for your HSA. So it's fun to sit down with people and make a plan and show them what they can spend it on and what money that's going to save them in the future.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. Let's get that good information out to people. What are some of the things that are covered that people maybe commonly don't think of?
Sure. So it's defined by the IRS, and it is basic medical coverage, your vision, chiropractic care, dental. But a lot of people don't know that you can also apply it to your long-term care insurance and your Medicare Part B premium. That is kind of a big one. People are shocked and comforted and confident in knowing heading forward.
So Loren, as you sit down with people, if they have an HSA available to them through their employer, you're definitely advising people to take advantage of it.
Yeah, if you can. And that's part of the planning is we will work it into the plan. Do we cut back savings with this vehicle to afford the HSA, or can we afford the HSA without a cutback? But one of the questions we do get all the time is, can I use an HSA? I keep hearing about this superhero savings vehicle called the HSA. I don't have one. Can I use one? You have to have a high deductible health care plan in order to be eligible to contribute to the HSA. So you need to make sure, and another question is, if they don't have a high deductible health care plan, meaning they're on a normal low deductible plan, should they switch to a high deductible plan to take advantage of this? I would say most of the time, if that's your situation, probably not, but it should be involved in the evaluation and creation of your retirement plan.
Okay, so healthcare, of course, one of the 5 guiding principles of retirement that we use here at Merkle Retirement Planning. Today we're going to talk about the healthcare piece, and then Loren, 2 more of the guiding principles we call the Merkle Retirement Method.
One of the most important aspects for pre-retirees and retirees as they're looking to transition and go to and through retirement is the income. Where are they going to get the income from? So the HSA is a part of their income plan if they have it available as one of their investment selections. And then, of course, the tax component of it with the triple tax benefit of the HSA. How can we avoid talking about tax strategies?
Yeah, so that triple tax benefit, let's stay there because I'm sure you've perked some ears up there. AnnaMarie Morrow, what does Loren mean by triple tax benefit?
So much like a IRA, money is going into it. You don't pay taxes on. And then as it sits there, it grows tax-free. And then any distributions you take on qualified medical expenses come out tax-free. So it is such a powerful vehicle to have on your side when you're headed to and through retirement.
And the rate at which it grows, Loren, is that just based on the plan that your employer used, or is it kind of reflective of the stock market, or how does it grow?
Well, it's very similar to your Roth IRA, where underneath the HSA, you can have just about any type of investment you want to. Now, there are some employer plans that really do restrict the available investment options, but it could be as simple as a savings account. It could be as simple as a mutual fund or a stock. I mean, it's just dependent upon the underlying investment vehicle that's underneath the HSA. Think about the HSA as an umbrella. Basically what it is, it's a tax umbrella. Underneath that tax umbrella is your investment vehicle. Could be the savings account, could be the mutual fund, whatever it is. The umbrella is what protects the investments from the taxation of the IRS.
And AnnaMarie, there are some limits on what you can contribute to an HSA, and they seem to change. What are the current limits?
So for an individual, it's $3,550, and for a family, it's $7,100. But once you each reach that age of 55, you're able to pay a catch-up contribution of $1,000 per member of the family who is HSA eligible.
Okay, Loren, so how do you contribute? Is it usually automatically from the payroll?
Yeah, most of the time it's just automatic deduction from the payroll, much like you would from your 401k plan. And that's kind of cool because you get to a point where you kind of forget it's even coming out. And then you wake up one day and you got all this money underneath this triple tax benefit type of savings account. The other cool thing about the HSA is a lot of employers will contribute to your HSA also. So as if the HSA wasn't good enough by itself when you're making contributions, a lot of employers will also put some of their money into the pot to help balloon that HSA account even quicker.
Okay, so let's talk about when you do go to use the funds. I get it. I have an idea now how you set it up and how it works. Loren, why don't you first talk about how you take the distributions, then AnnaMarie, I think we could go more in depth about how you can use that money. Does it go directly to a doctor? Do you get it first? Then what does that process look like? So the distributions, Loren.
With technology today, a lot of people just use a debit card. So it's as easy as just swiping a debit card through a machine. You can write checks on many of these, or you can go to the bank or the institution and just request a distribution as well. So it's very convenient, very easy to take distributions out. The key is you want to make sure that whatever distribution you take, it goes to pay for a qualified medical expense to get the third part of that triple tax benefit.
And AnnaMarie, sometimes people do get confused with an HSA and an FSA. What is the difference?
Sure. So a flex spending account is owned by the employer. It's not owned by the employee. A health savings account, if you leave your place of business, you work somewhere else, you can take it with you as long as you stay on your high deductible health plan. And also with a health savings account, if you don't use those monies within that year, they do roll over to following years. However, flex spending account, if you do not use those money that year, you lose that money.
That is a really important distinction. Not only with the HSA, if you don't use it in that year, does it roll over to the next year, but it'll roll over to the next year and the next year and next year. And if you never use all of the money underneath your HSA, you put a beneficiary designation on the account, so it will go to whomever you list as the beneficiary. So this really is your money. You use it, or it passes on to the next generation or to whomever you want it to go to.
So the HSA is the superhero of today's episode of Retiring Today. We'll show you how you can put the HSA strategy to work for your retirement when Retiring Today continues.
With the current state of the markets, are you worried about what the future might hold for your retirement? Take advantage of learning opportunities through our online workshops. Learn if your retirement is still on track and discover income, tax, and investment strategies from the comfort of your own home. Go to merkleplan.com to view course offerings and sign up today. Take control of your retirement. Sign up today.
Has the recent market volatility put your retirement plan to the test? See if your retirement is still on track by scheduling a retirement checkup with Loren Merkle. During this 15-minute phone call, we'll discuss if your retirement plan could be disrupted by long-term market volatility. We'll also analyze your current tax plan and provide strategies on how to take advantage of the market. Go to merkleplan.com and click Book Now to schedule your retirement checkup today.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. We're continuing our discussion about an HSA. The HSA is the superhero of today's episode. I'm here with AnnaMarie Morrow and Loren Merkle, superheroes in their own right. AnnaMarie is the Director of Healthcare here at Merkle Retirement Planning. Loren is a certified financial planner. And Loren, HSAs and Medicare, two different things, but definitely things that when you're having these conversations with people, AnnaMarie, as I know you do as well, you you kind of talk about in conjunction with each other.
We do, because Medicare is where most retirees end up from a healthcare standpoint. And then now it's a matter of how does Medicare and their HSA work together? Some elements of, or some premiums and expenses that are associated with Medicare, you can use the HSA to cover, and some you cannot. So there's oftentimes some confusion on what you can actually use the HSA to cover.
And something important to note, Loren, is that once you turn 65 and are Medicare eligible and you elect Part A, Part B, you can no longer make those contributions to your HSA account. And any contributions you made within 6 months prior are no longer qualified. So that's definitely something you want to consider when making your plan to elect Part A or Part B, is to have that plan in place of what plan am I going to take on as my supplement? Am I going to move to an Advantage plan? Because that's when you can make strategies on how best to use your HSA.
So Loren, what if you're saving in an HSA account and maybe you don't need the money or you don't want to use the money?
We do see this quite a bit with pre-retirees where they have a high deductible health care plan, you're saving in this HSA, and then you have a medical event that incurs a medical expense that would be eligible to take a distribution from the HSA, pay it, and it's a tax-free distribution. So that's really tempting. One of the ways we can kind of think outside of the box and put ourselves in a better position from a retirement income standpoint as it relates to medical expenses is maybe consider if you can afford to pay for that medical event out of your cash flow, out of the income that's coming in, or maybe your other savings, then allow this triple tax benefit account, this superhero savings account, the HSA, continue to grow tax-free until you retire. And then you don't have the W-2 income coming in. You're completely dependent upon the resources that you saved. And then you have a medical event expense. Then you can use the HSA that has now ballooned. It's grown on a tax-free basis. It's really tempting to use it along the way, but if you can allow it to grow and take advantage of that tax-free compounding, then it can help you even more in retirement, because one of the things in retirement, you're gonna have healthcare expenses. It's estimated post-age 65, that the average retiree will incur $280,000 of healthcare expense over the course of retirement. So you can use this HSA to help offset some of those costs. And again, there's little risk, because if you pass away and you still have money in the HSA, it'll go to a beneficiary.
And let's just say you're one of the fortunate few. We know most people will need to use this for a medical expense, but let's say you're in retirement, you're healthy for whatever reason. It just works like an IRA. If after you're 65, you can take money from it.
Oh, sure. If you need the funds for anything outside of medical expenses and you withdraw money, it behaves just like an IRA, so you can just expect to pay the normal income tax that you would otherwise.
Okay, Loren's going to head over to the board now to put this whole thing into motion for us. He's got a great example that will show you how an HSA can be a superhero in retirement.
So let's demonstrate the power of the HSA through the eyes of Larry and Sue. We've been talking about this triple tax benefit of the HSA, especially since we think that the tax environment, the taxes are going to increase in the future. This can be even more powerful the higher the tax brackets actually get. So let's go through this. We have Larry and Sue. They're both retired. They're age 62. They have a $600,000 portfolio and an expense need on a monthly basis of $5,000 a month. Now, if they have no real medical event throughout the course of their retirement, meaning they don't need extra income to support a medical event like long-term care or such, then their portfolio would last till about age 98, okay? But what happens if Larry has a medical event, and because of that medical event, they need an extra $416 a month in addition to the $5,000 a month? Based on that extra expense, and by the way, this is the scenario in which they don't have an HSA. They're taking these distributions from their IRA, from their pre-tax IRA, which means they're paying taxes on those distributions. We add the $416 a month to their expense need, which means now, because they're spending $54.16 a month as opposed to $5,000 a month, their portfolio only lasts until age 90. Now, that's still not horrible, but it's really horrible if they're 92 and their portfolio is gone, right? If they pass away at age 80, 85, they still had enough money, but what if?
And they have more taxable income in this scenario as well, too, right?
In this scenario, all of this income is taxable because they didn't do a lot of tax diversifying throughout the course of their pre-retirement or even the retirement years. So the income is coming from taxable sources, which is the IRA. So they're leaving more money on the table from a tax standpoint, and they're able to spend less of it, and that's part of the reason that the portfolio doesn't last all the way until age 100. So that's the scenario where they don't incorporate an HSA. But let's say that they did a little planning prior to going into retirement. In fact, starting at age 52, they maxed out their HSA contributions. So by the time they retire at age 62, in this scenario, they have amassed some money, some wealth underneath an HSA. Larry still has the medical event, so they still need the extra $416 a month, but instead of taking it from their taxable IRA, they're taking it from the HSA on a tax-free basis, and it's not cutting into their IRA money. It's a separate account, tax-free distributions to pay for that medical event, and then look what happens to the portfolio. It lasts all the way past the age of 100. So just by doing a little bit more planning prior to going into retirement, separating out some funds from the pre-tax to the HSA, really taking advantage of that triple tax benefit of the HSA, they were able to pay for the extra expense due to the medical event and still were able to do everything else they wanted to from a financial standpoint all the way past age 100.
And this is such a powerful example, but a lot of viewers viewing this are like, I haven't started putting away money into an HSA. So now I have to make allocations to where if I want to max out my contribution for a family, $7,100, that might affect my planning.
Yeah, that's a great point. This is just another reason why the retirement plan is so important. And sometimes, let's say you're maxing out your pre-tax 401k plan. Sometimes it might make sense in order to take advantage of this superhero savings account, the HSA, to decrease a little bit of what you're putting into the pre-tax 401k to adjust for the HSA. But again, that's just the value of the plan, to make sure that you're allocating your resources in the best way possible for you, not only for what's going on in your life right now, but also for retirement.
So if you have an HSA, or maybe you're thinking about starting contributions to an HSA, you might have a lot of questions about this. We've got a neat opportunity for you, and it's a chance to talk to Loren directly. You can go to the website on your screen. It's merkleretire.com and get on Loren's personal calendar for a 15-minute retirement checkup. It doesn't have to be about HSAs. You can talk to Loren about market volatility. You can talk to him about your retirement plan, recession resistance. There's a lot of things, of course, when it comes to retirement. So go ahead and check that out if you've got questions for Loren. We had a question from Drew. Drew in Story City asks, can I contribute to an HSA if I'm on COBRA? We'll answer Drew's question and more when Retiring Today continues.
Has the recent market volatility put your retirement plan to the test? See if your retirement is still on track by scheduling a retirement checkup with Loren Merkle. During this 15-minute phone call, we'll discuss if your retirement plan could be disrupted by long-term market volatility. We'll also analyze your current tax plan and provide strategies on how to take advantage of the market. Go to merkleplan.com and click Book Now to schedule your retirement checkup today.
With the current state of the markets, are you worried about what the future might hold for your retirement? Take advantage of learning opportunities through our online workshops. Learn if your retirement is still on track and discover income, tax, and investment strategies from the comfort of your own home. Go to merkleplan.com to view course offerings and sign up today. Take control of your retirement. Sign up today.
Before the break, we had this up on the screen. It's our Ask the Advisor question. Drew from Story City asks, can I contribute to an HSA if I'm on COBRA? I'm here with AnnaMarie Morrow, Director of Healthcare here at Merkle Retirement Planning, and Loren Merkle, Certified Financial Planner. You guys know the answer to this one. AnnaMarie, what is it?
Great question, Drew. I actually receive this question almost daily with visits with our families. So the great answer is yes, you can absolutely contribute to your HSA if you're on COBRA. And even better news is if you're on unemployment, if you are unemployed at the time, you can actually use your HSA to make those payments for your COBRA premiums. So great news all around with COBRA, great question, and definitely make that a part of your plan if you do have COBRA payments coming up in the future.
And well, AnnaMarie, I can tell that you're passionate about this. I mean, I think it's worth saying right now that I think this is probably something that not every retirement planning or everybody that does what we do offers, and maybe Loren's best to speak to this. How does AnnaMarie's expertise kind of help with the overall customized healthcare and retirement plans that you draw up for people?
Well, one of our visions for Merkle Retirement Planning from the very beginning is to make this as close to a one-stop shop as we possibly can for pre-retirees and retirees. There's so much complexity that goes into all of this. I mean, just for the last few minutes here, we've been talking about HSAs, and this is a vehicle that's very, very misunderstood because not a lot of people spend a lot of time researching it. It's not that old of an investment vehicle. So legislative changes, introduction of new types of savings accounts, legislation that eliminates older types of savings accounts, all of this just adds to complexity. So if you're on the doorsteps of retiring and saying, well, how do I put all of these different moving parts together, and then how do I stay on top of it to make sure that as legislation changes, as your life changes, as all these events inevitably do take place, how does it all continue to work together to accomplish your retirement vision? So this one-stop shop type of firm really offers people the confidence and the convenience of going to one place, having all different types of expertise, whether it's Social Security or the income planning, tax planning, healthcare, long-term care planning, the legacy planning, all of it works together. And that's why having AnnaMarie is so valuable, not only for the firm, but also for the pre-retirees and the retirees that trust us to build their plans.
Yeah, you sit down with people and answer a lot of these questions in more detail and make them specific to their situation. So let's talk about the takeaways from today's episode on HSA. AnnaMarie, if you are eligible, most of the time, contribute to that HSA.
Yes, absolutely. The Employee Benefit Research Institute put out a fascinating study a couple years ago. They were able to grab metrics from 2018, looking back at 2017, and it showed that up to 33.7 million people had HSA eligible health plans in 2017, but only 22.2 million people of that number had actually opened an HSA. And moreover, in a later report, the EBRI noted that people with HSAs had an average balance of just $2,900, which is just a pittance considering in 2020, our annual contribution can be $3,550 for just an individual. So it just goes to show the EBR found out that people that are HSA eligible, they aren't using it. They aren't making the contributions that they're able to.
And I think a lot of that has to go with the HSA is a newer type of savings account. There's a lot of misunderstanding. I mean, how many times do we get the question, AnnaMarie, if I don't use it, am I going to lose it, right? There's a lot of confusion because the old school types of savings accounts designated for health expenses worked in that fashion, whereas the HSA really doesn't. So that's part of our goal here is just kind of promote the HSA for what it really is, the valuable tool that it can be. And then if it works within your retirement savings plan, let's not ignore it. Let's take advantage of it.
Yeah, and that leads us to our next takeaway, which is save your HSA funds for retirement. Now, we know this point doesn't work for every person, just like we know the same retirement plan we don't use with all of the families that we work with, but it's definitely something people want to highly consider.
This is just one way that we think outside of the box because you're right, Molly, no strategy works well for everybody, but if this strategy does work well for you, it's one that we don't want to miss. It's one we don't want to miss because of the power of tax-free growth. The HSA, as we mentioned a number of times, has the triple tax benefits. If it does work, let's use it. If it doesn't work, then at least you know you're not leaving that option on the table. You consciously made the decision to do something different, and there's power and comfort within that as well. So it's a matter of evaluating all of your options, incorporating the best plan, constructing the best customized plan for you. The HSA could be a part of that, but if it's not, at least you made that decision intentionally.
Yeah, and I think our Larry and Sue example really showed this, AnnaMarie, but consider the HSA as more than just for health savings at the time. Consider it maybe for down the road as well.
Absolutely. So Advantage plans are growing in popularity once you're Medicare eligible. You elect Part A, Part B, and then you have to choose a supplement plan. So it could either be Medigap or Advantage plans. So Advantage plans are growing in popularity tremendously because with Advantage plans, there's very little, if any, premium associated with it. So it kind of is pay as you go. So if you're generally healthy, an Advantage plan looks beautiful because it includes gym memberships nowadays, a bunch of other things, chiropractic care, your dental, your vision, it's all built into these Advantage plans. Well, you have to be comfortable in meeting your out-of-pocket maximum. So that is where the beauty and the superhero powerness of an HSA comes into play, because you can use your HSA to pay and cover that catastrophic event that had you need to meet your out-of-pocket maximum. So it's a huge blessing, huge benefit. So if you have that option to save it for retirement, do it.
And AnnaMarie, that is really good advice. So if you want to talk more about the HSA, your retirement, market volatility, all of the pieces of this retirement puzzle, we've got a great opportunity for you. You can schedule a 15-minute phone call with Loren. So at merkleretire.com, you can get directly to Loren's calendar there. You click right in there and schedule a 15-minute retirement checkup call. We also like to continue talking about this, Loren. I mean, this HSA is just one piece of a giant retirement puzzle of 5 real components that guide people to and through retirement. And we talk about those a lot in our workshops that we offer.
We do. We talk about the 5 components that are going to need to be completed within your customized retirement plan. And we go through each one of those individually, point out some nuances, point out some traps that a lot of retirees, pre-retirees fall into, so you can avoid those traps and develop the retirement plan that you need to accomplish your retirement vision.
Okay, so a couple of other resources we want to tell you about. We've got a Facebook Live. We do that every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. So if you want to check out Loren's kind of take on what's happening that day, it's an update and you can interact live with the Facebook and pose your questions there. We've also got a podcast. It's called Retiring Today. For more information on those workshops, go to the website on your screen. There's more than just one workshop for everybody. There's a journey to retirement if you're a pre-retiree. There's a boost your retirement for those that are already in retirement. And then depending on what's happening with the market and what's happening with legislation, we change those workshops to meet the needs of pre-retirees and retirees. And we'll continue having the conversations about all the things that go into retirement on this show. It's called Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
With the current state of the markets, are you worried about what the future might hold for your retirement? Take advantage of learning opportunities through our online workshops. Learn if your retirement is still on track and discover income, tax, and investment strategies from the comfort of your own home. Go to merkleplan.com to view course offerings and sign up today. Take control of your retirement. Sign up today.
Has the recent market volatility put your retirement plan to the test? See if your retirement is still on track by scheduling a retirement checkup with Loren Merkle. During this 15-minute phone call, we'll discuss if your retirement plan could be disrupted by long-term market volatility. We'll also analyze your current tax plan and provide strategies on how to take advantage of the market. Go to merkleplan.com and click Book Now to schedule your retirement checkup today.
From our family to yours, we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
We hope you enjoy the show.
We'll see you next week.